Hey and welcome to the Mystic Mondays YouTube channel. In this video, we are doing a deck unboxing of the Oracle of Pluto deck by Aubrey Houdeshell. The creator and writer behind this deck, professional tarot reader and astrologer and shadow worker with her business, Graveyard Roses. And I also had Aubrey as a podcast guest on the Graced podcast, where we talked about the transformative power of Pluto through the houses. Make sure to check out that podcast episode linked here. I'm also hosting a giveaway of the Oracle of Pluto on Instagram. So make sure to head over to Instagram to check out how to win this deck and add the Oracle of Pluto to your deck collection. If you missed this giveaway, don't worry. Follow along for more giveaways in the future. And if you are interested in creating your own deck as a multi-deck creator myself, I do have a course where I teach you how to create your own deck, which outlines every step of the deck creation process, including how to get started. Find out more about the Create Your Deck Club at cydc.mysticmondays.com, which will also be linked in the description box. Welcome to another deck unboxing on the Mystic Mondays channel. We'll be looking at the deck box, guidebook, card art, as well as conducting a deck interview. And at the end of the video, we'll be doing a card pull for the collective to see what messages this deck wants to give you at this time. I am a deep believer that decks have different personalities, so we'll be using a deck interview spread from my Mystic Mondays Tarot journal. If you want to use this deck interview spread for yourself, the link is in the description box to view the blog article on mysticmondays.com. Let me know what you think about this deck by leaving a comment below. Like this video if you'd like to have this deck in your collection, and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more Mystic unboxings on your feed and in the inevitable future. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to the deck unboxing of the Oracle of Pluto, a 55-card exploration of the Undiscovered Self, written by Aubrey Houdeshell and illustrated by Rose Ides. So we did, or I suppose I did, a podcast interview with Aubrey where we went very deep into Pluto. So definitely check out that podcast episode. This deck is about getting in touch with your deepest self, using shadow work as your guide. Shadow work, the exploration of the darker side of oneself and the world, is a powerful tool for self-transformation and exploration, using Plutonian archetypes and ethereal, shadow puppet-inspired figures. Author Aubrey Houdeshell and illustrator Rose Ides guide you through this potent process of personal revolution. So we get a little snapshot here of what the cards look like, and this is a little magnetic keepsake box. And we've got this guidebook, this cool Plutonian purple gradient inside, and we've got all the meanings in here as well, and an overview of all the cards. We've got the introduction with the Pluto symbol here. What else? What else? Alright, let's look at the cards. So, we've got a scorpion on the back of the cards. Since this is an oracle deck, it doesn't need to be... I don't know what the word is, but basically when the card is upright and reversed and it's the same. I'm gonna go look up what that word is after this video. So let's look at the artwork. I thought it was a cool concept that basically we've got like shadow puppets throughout, and it casts a shadow which is larger than the hand puppet here, and then we've got little Pluto symbols in the corner around the border of the artwork. So I thought that was cool. And it looks like, depending on the artwork as well, the border color like slightly changes to that gradient. So yeah, let's look at these. Okay, I'm like, there's so many cards. Okay, we've got lion, and we've got tiger, griffin. We got snail, squirrel, rooster, mallard, which I believe is kind of like a duck. Correct me if I'm wrong. Got the unicorn. Okay. Oop, moving up in frame. Okay, and then this is gonna get messy, everybody, okay? Because part of the reason why I do it like this is to shuffle the cards while also admiring all the artwork. So, oh my god, what is that? It's wet. Got crab, hawk, elephant, puppet master. Look at that. Intense. Pigeon, goose. So color-wise, it seems like this falls very in line with kind of like this purple hue, you know, igniting this feeling of Plutonian energy, and also highlighting the shadows in this card, in all the cards. And then we have these like beautiful illustrations. It looks hand-drawn along with the artwork. I think the concept is so cool though, like using this idea of puppets and hand puppets, because if we're not conscious of our shadows, they often direct our actions. There's a famous Carl Jung quote about it that I am butchering, but that is basically what it means. And I think like the concept of using hand puppets to elicit and create this shadow really signifies how much our shadow has like such a significant impact on our actions, whether we know it or not. So yeah, but if we're aware of it, then we can shift direction. Okay, so we've got that all shuffled. Or at least a bit more shuffled. I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle the cards some more. And also enjoying this contrast between this light blue and the darkness of the cards when you turn it over. Designer. The designer in me. Okay, so we're going to use this tarot deck interview spread to interview this oracle deck, the Oracle of Pluto. This tarot deck interview spread is inside the Mystic Mondays Tarot Journal, which is your guide to unlocking the transformative power of tarot. It is a journal I created with Chronicle Books. So as you can see, you can log in your tarot journaling, your spreads, your inklings about the cards, and your interviews with different decks. So let's see. What is the energy? Oh, wow. Whoa. Deck really wanted to speak to me. What is the energy of this deck? Okay. We've got Penguin. How can this deck best support me? How can this deck best support me? Okay, these cards are a bit stuck together. Hippo. What is this deck's strengths? Strengths. Turkey. What is this deck's weakness? We've got snake. Move that up so you can see it. In what realm will we best communicate? Got stuck together. Okay. Puppet master. Okay. Interesting. I don't know what puppet master means, but from gathering what's going on there, it looks intense. how will our relationship develop? And also, it's the only quote-unquote human in the deck. So, we've got Eagle. And then, number 7, what guidance can you offer me at this moment? I'm actually feeling this one here. And since there's 2 stuck together, Hawk. Okay, so I'm gonna move that down so you can see it. Okay. Well, let's look at what this means. I'm not familiar with the meanings of this deck, so let's dive in. Oh my god, it opened right to Penguin. Okay. The energy of this deck. Family and close relationships, social life. A gregarious critter, the penguin is all about family and loved ones, doing everything it can to provide for its close relationships. A penguin is almost never by itself, knowing that a solid system of support is key to the survival of both the individual and the species. Humans are wired similarly. If you pulled this card in your reading, it's time to reach out to your support system. This looks different for each of us, of course, and may include family, friends, lovers, and even coworkers, regardless of what your system looks like. Something about the situation at hand requires you to reach out. Spend time with those who bring joy, peace, and healing. You've suffered in silence long enough. Let your loved ones be there for you. It's also possible that whatever you're going through directly involves your loved ones. If this is the case, it's time to weigh the importance of this relationship in your life. Do you want, or even need, this relationship to continue? If the answer is yes, is this conflict doing more damage to the relationship than it's worth? We must learn to pick our battles wisely. Regardless of how this card applies to your current circumstance, the message is clear. Reach out to those you care about. And then there's a further reflection paragraph, which I'm not going to read. So, I suppose what I'm getting from what is the energy of this deck, I feel like it talks about, support, having that support system, and that using the power of Pluto could be that support system. And I think it could be a reminder, because Pluto is such a powerful, transformative planet, that I feel like this is speaking to, like, hey, I'm a supportive deck. I'm there for you. And then number 2 is, how can this deck best support me? We've got Hippo. And this is not in alphabetical order, so bear with me as I try to find Hippo. Okay, maybe... and there aren't numbers on the cards either, so that makes it a little difficult to find cards in this deck, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, but I think it's in order when you flip to the front, meaning in order here, I mean, with the cards all laid out. Okay, Hippo. Abundance, reaping rewards, indulgence. A heavyweight in the animal kingdom, the hippo is the 3rd largest land mammal, behind the elephant and the white rhino. The incredible mass of the hippopotamus represents the themes of abundance, expansion, and indulgence. And if you pulled the hippo card, you are in the flow of it. This card will always be a welcome sight in a reading, as we should be experiencing abundance in many, maybe all, areas of our lives. There is a jovial energy that comes along with the hippo, as we are deeply in the flow of gratitude when this card is present as well. You may be entertaining your every indulgence and rewarding yourself for all your hard work. Just make sure not to go overboard or to hoard all the good tidings for yourself. The hippo asks us to share our wealth, literally and figuratively, with those we love. After you've taken a moment to treat yourself, remember that you will eventually have to get to work again to create even more moments of abundance in your life. I feel like since Pluto is such a transformative, powerful planet, that you can use Pluto, depending on where it is in your chart, to really figure out how you can create those nuggets of abundance for yourself. Mine happens to be in Scorpio in my 6th house, so I definitely feel like that has to do with like my daily rituals and my daily routines, which I've been feeling very strongly lately, of tying that into my work somehow. So number 3, what is this deck's strengths? We've got Turkey. So I'm gonna find Turkey here.
Okay. Primal instincts stay wild and free. There is a pronounced difference between a domesticated turkey, and a wild one. Domesticated turkeys are notoriously dumb and homogeneous, while their wild counterparts are much more cunning. This juxtaposition highlights the benefits of staying wild and free on multiple levels, which is also reflected in the darker, more detailed plumage on turkeys found in the wild. If turkey energy is present, you are being called to find the value in your own wild and free spirit. As we move through life, we are confronted with many different messages about the way we're supposed to be. It's very possible that we have been given conflicting messages from different people. However, it's important to recognize that people love to project. We all do it from time to time, but others' expectations of us are really about them and have nothing to do with us at the root. This card is an invitation to get back in touch with your true essence, the wild spirit that you possess inside that only wants to be free. Who are you without the weight and projections of society, other people, your family, and friends? Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Give yourself permission to just be and know that you are good enough just as you are. So, I suppose this is about feeling loved and accepting all parts of oneself. Obviously, working with the shadow tends to also mean working through more difficult emotions like shame or sadness, grief, guilt, any of those type of emotions and more, right? That I'm not even naming in this moment. So I feel like what I'm getting from the turkey is to really embody all the darkness and utilize that as a strength. And then number 4, I have, what is this deck's weakness? And I've got snake, which is interesting because when I think of the snake, I often think of the snake as a very transformative animal. So you've got the divine feminine, a spiritual awakening, healing. The snake is one of the oldest known symbols of the goddess, and it has a powerful correspondence in the occult. The snake is rich in meaning and revered in many cultures, with one of the most famous representations being that of Kundalini, a snake goddess believed to be triggered at the start of a profound spiritual awakening. If the snake has graced your reading with its presence, it's likely you are undergoing this process now. Just as a snake shedding its skin is a sure sign of growth, you may be experiencing old beliefs or versions of yourself falling away now. Recognize that this is a necessary part of your healing journey. Often after we've undergone a profoundly difficult or painful time, we emerge on the other side feeling as though we are a completely different person. To fully embrace this new authentic version of yourself, it's necessary to let fall away what must fall away to complete the process of integration. Shed the dead weight and welcome in this healthier version of yourself. The snake may also be a sign that the goddess, the divine feminine, is calling out to you. Say hello. It's interesting that this is in the weakness position. I suppose there are aspects of the divine feminine and shedding skin. Perhaps it can speak to a resistance to shedding the old, which I can definitely relate to because it's very comfortable to be in your patterns and to be, comfortable where you are. So I think this is stepping into being uncomfortable to allow this change to happen. So, yeah. And then number 5, in what realm will we best communicate? That puppet master? So, let me find, because there's like a layout of all the cards here. Okay, puppet master is kind of in the beginning of, here we are. Projection, distortion, the ego, self-awareness. The gatekeeper to the depths of our psyches will always be the ego. Though the ego isn't fundamentally a bad thing, much of psychology and spiritual work deals with acquiring the self-awareness to recognize when the ego has stepped into the limelight and we are acting from the wound. The puppet master represents this wounded ego in its lessons. Consider the artwork of the card for a moment. Notice how the head of the puppet master seems to form one of the heads of Cerberus, the dog shadow projected on the wall. Sometimes we are the victim of other people's projections, it's true, but oftentimes, we are the projector. If this card has appeared in a reading, it's time for you to figure out which is the case right now, keeping in mind that both can be true at once. Mindful awareness is required of you now to discern not only if you're acting from the wound, but also from which one. If we are triggered in our trauma, the way things appear and or feel can be distorted. It's time to ground yourself. carve out some space and time, get quiet, and wait for clarity to rise to the surface. I think it's interesting because in what realm will we communicate? Like, every other card is an animal and this card is a human. I suppose, often with the shadow, there's a lot of projection happening, because if we're projecting, it is often from our insecurities, the things that we tend to project onto other people. And I think that what this card is saying is to, acknowledge and become aware of these insecurities and shadow. And when working from healing a wounded place, I think is a good way to use this deck to become aware of the shadows and projections that are playing out. So, number 6, we've got Eagle. Gonna browse through to find Eagle. Okay, I thought I saw it. Here we are. The spiritual messenger, protection, the bigger picture. To see the elusive eagle in real life is rare and fleeting. Those who are lucky enough to behold this majestic creature know of its unique wonders. Just like the hawk, which is next, the great eagle is revered as a divine creature, one that is rich in deeply spiritual symbolism. Nothing flies higher in the sky than an eagle. Because of this unique vantage point, the eagle brings with it an important perspective, one that can only be achieved from a certain level of enlightenment and understanding. It also brings along an important message, and the other cards around it give context to that message. If you've pulled the eagle by itself, this is a sign that you are the spiritual messenger, and that you are being encouraged to share the wisdom, skills, and knowledge you possess. Perhaps there is a leadership role you're being asked to step into, or a community that you could serve. Often, and especially in spirituality, you're both the student and the teacher. Where do you embody both roles? Consider also how eagles are sacred across many cultures and sects of belief, often revered as a fierce symbol of divine wisdom and protection. It is possible that the arrival of this card means a shield is around you now. Trust that you are divinely protected. Whenever I see the eagle as a symbol out in the world, I always think of my grandfather who passed. And I kind of am getting that energy from this card as well. It's just reminding me of that. So I suppose, I'm feeling an energy of protection of, how will our relationship develop, and perhaps even, some otherworldly guidance that is happening here too. And that exploring my shadows can be a protective type of process. Because I think some people, including myself, can get scared of that, can get scared of facing the truth of a situation, or the truth of who I am and who I want to be and all of that. And so I kind of feel like that provides context that it's safe to explore the shadow parts of yourself. And not only that, but you also tend to experience freedom, once you do that. So, last but not least, we've got the hawk, which is in the position of what guidance can you offer me at this moment? We've got intelligence, independence, adaptability, and clarity. Hawks inhabit every single continent except Antarctica. Because of the vast diversity found in the environments they inhabit, hawks are incredibly adaptable creatures. Thanks to their prevalence, almost every ancient culture has lore surrounding this bird of prey. Many put hawks in the same category as ravens, owls, and other creatures known for their sharp intelligence. Scientists do as well. To see the hawk in your reading is a call to check in on your current state. Are you seeing things clearly? There's likely a situation at hand that is asking for a certain amount of flexibility on your part, but you may feel resistant to bending. Be careful that your stubbornness hasn't clouded your vision to your own detriment. This moment calls for some self-awareness and brutal honesty about the role you're playing in your own life, and whether you're self-sabotaging. I'm all of a sudden feeling really hot. So I think that's a sign for me to pay attention. What guidance can you offer me in this moment? Check in on my current state. Am I seeing things clearly? I suppose this is asking me to be flexible in how things are going to play out, and to not attach myself too strongly to a certain outcome, and to recognize when I'm self-sabotaging, because, when we're not willing to face our shadows, that can definitely come up for sure. Alrighty, until you're ready to face it. So I like to end these deck unboxing videos with a card pull for the collective. What I'm getting a sense of is obviously this deck is very great at exploring one's shadow, projections, and I think coming into an empowered place. So speaking of empowerment, for the collective, I've got the Lion. So let's see what the Lion means here. I'm just going to refer to this to find it a bit faster. Okay, it's kind of like in the middle, so here we are. Often referred to as the king of the animal kingdom, the lion embodies the energy of the divine masculine within us. The presence of this card may also point to a fatherly relationship, whether with your biological father or a chosen father figure. As with the bear card and maternal relations, our relationship with our dad may not always be a good or easy one. However, when we approach the archetype of the father through the lens of the divine, we are given the opportunity to define what this masculine energy needs to represent to us to feel empowering. When we speak of the divine masculine and feminine through the lens of spirituality, we aren't speaking about gender, but rather the two sides of nature that exist in all things. These energies are one way to think about the two halves that make us whole, and they exist on a spectrum in varying degrees. Masculine energy is often thought of as the active principle, the side of us that is ambitious, driven, and ready to make moves. Feminine is the passive principle, open, receptive, observing. The Lion asks us about our relationship to our own masculine energy. What does this energy mean to you? What feelings arise when you read these words? Take pride in this part of you and nurture it well. So I feel that in the spiritual realm, I hear a lot about the divine feminine. And it's interesting because that appeared in What Is This Deck's Weakness? I got the snake, and in this deck, it's, representing the divine feminine. And then for the collective card pull, we've got the lion, which is representing the divine masculine. So the message for the collective is, I think, to examine, your relationship with the divine masculine, your relationship to your father. How is that playing out in your life? How has that affected you? And I think that's a really good, note to end on for you to reflect. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. Catch you at the next one. Bye.
Like this video? Check out other deck unboxings, tarot lessons, timeless pick a card, tarot readings, and more on the Mystic Mondays YouTube channel. Thanks for catching this video and see you next time.